Hi, this is Jericha from SKYHOUSE 1111. Um, Quite often, in addition to my usual channeling, uh, a lot of people will come up to me and they'll have a lot of questions. Uh, Please forgive me if I sound weird. I got allergies going on right now. Um, uh, a lot of times people come up to me with questions, and the way I handle those is I usually sit down with them and have what I call a breakdown session with them. Uh, what what that is when somebody comes up to me with a particular question or some kind of issue they have that they'd like to have resolved. What I do is I sit with them. I'll ask them questions, and the intent of the questions is to get the person to kind of get the gears going, kind of to think, to get them to analyze the problem themselves, to look at the problem in the way they haven't before, get a new perspective or something like that. The whole premise behind that is that we get caught in mental and emotional feedback loops, usually due to societal or family things brought up in the family or something like that. We get caught in these mental and emotional feedback loops. Yeah, and often it leads to, well, I can't do this because of A, or I seem to be blocked by B. And a lot of these blocks are just perceptual in nature. I so naturally, if you want to remove a perceptual block, you got to change the perspective, and you can't do that by just simply telling somebody something. I mean, like, for example, if you were like on the coastline, you wanted to see the beach, and there's a house in your way, would you ask somebody else to tell you what's behind the house, or would you move so that the house doesn't obscure your view? I don't give people answers on, like I said, I don't give people answers on what to fix. I generally give them the tools to answer their own questions. And this is the reason. I mean, it'd be so easy just to sit there and be a mouthpiece to someone's what's the word? To be a mouthpiece to somebody's ego. I, I, I mean, I can make a killing doing that. I mean, I can make tons of money doing telling people what they wanted to hear. People do that every day. Is I mean, I could tell them what star system they're from, what they need to do this and that for a century. In some cases, I could tell them exactly where the difficulty lies and how to fix it, but I don't, because that's not what this is about. Like I said, I usually don't answer people's questions directly. Instead, I help them find the answers for themselves, to show them how to reach their own answers, or at least give them some insights on how to do this. I mean, to some people that I talk to, to them it may seem like I'm dodging their questions. I mean, it may even seem like I'm putting them up front, and I realize this, and that's understandable, because there are a lot of people out there who act like drug dealers of sacred knowledge, just creating all these wonder junkies, and many people have been burnt out by dealing with these people, and I guess they have a right to be a little bit suspicious. Well, let me put it this way. If I simply answered their questions, I'm potentially creating a codependent relationship with with probably no chance of any growth on the individual's part. They don't seek to know in this kind of a relationship. They seek someone else to come up with the answers for them. It's like sucking on someone's tail. I mean, it doesn't get them to go out and find their own food. I mean, this has been abused for millennia by, like, religious institutions, churches, and all these other, like, established religions. Who, like, in my position, someone trying to help rate, kind of, help people, lift people up from, ignorance. Like, who would I be to, like, just simply go fall back on something like that? I mean, when I'm a part of a movement that terms itself ascension, or to rise above the darkness, I mean, who am I to act like the gatekeeper to such knowledge when somebody could just easily go out for it themselves? It's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of effort. I don't mean to sound condescending in that. It's just that, this is kind of important right now. We're going through a lot of changes in the world right now, and a lot of the darkness that people are complaining about, it has to do with habit. With, people having this habit of just going to others for answers. And in a sense, it's almost like, in order to get over that, people have to learn to get the answers from within. Like, you can't just, you can't I mean, experts can be helpful, but they can't be the sole verdict. You have to go, ultimately it comes down to you. Well, to illustrate this, I remember, I'll tell you a story. I remember I used to have, as a kid, I used to have this thing they called a big wheel. It was basically a trike. It was basically a tricycle that was made out of plastic. And, I had this one, which was like it was black with like gold trim. It had like the word Cobra on the side, and it was like one of the most badass things I thought I ever had. And one day, my mom decided that I was too old for this, and decided I'm not riding it anymore. And I was heartbroken. I loved that thing. It was the coolest looking thing. I mean, I thought I was the most badass kid on the block with one of these things, even though, I'm sure some other kid probably had something better, but to me, it was like the ultimate, Well, my mom said, well, you're too old for this, you need to start riding your bike. And it's like, oh boy, I had so much anxiety associated at the time with attempting to go for something that had 3 wheels that was secure on the road to something that has 2 wheels that just, you just try to stand it up, and it just collapses. I mean, how the heck are you supposed to ride something like that? And, for a while, I tried to learn how to ride it, and, all the while, my head was racing. It was like, I had all these questions, and I was panicking, like, how do I keep my balance? How do I even ride this thing? I mean, why doesn't anybody tell me how to ride this thing if everybody else says it's so easy, but they won't explain it to me. So, and then I was thinking, I'll never learn how to ride a bike. Everyone else seems to be able to ride it. I must be just like slow or stupid or something. And this went on for a little while. Eventually, I just forgot about my bike and just left it down the cellar. It's like, if I can't, I'll just walk around. I don't care. It was just kind of like, eventually I just kind of let it go and forgot all about it. And one day we were moving to another apartment down the way, because we were in a we were in the projects basically, and we were moving to a new apartment in the projects. We were moving junk over from the old place to the new place. And I brought up my bike from my basement, which hadn't seen much love because I gave up trying to ride it for a while, and it had all cobwebs and stuff like that. And whoever was helping us offered to, you want to throw this in the back of the car and we'll just move it over for you? I was like, no, I think I'll walk with it. For some reason, I don't know why. And so I started walking towards the apartment, and I said, well, you know what? Why don't I just give this a try? Why don't I try riding it? And I get on it, and it's like, I was having a little trouble balancing myself, but I was doing it. I was like, oh my god, I'm riding my bike, I was like so ecstatic that I would like finally learn how to ride this thing. And I wasn't even trying. And So, I mean, after that, it was like you couldn't pull me apart away from the thing. The whole idea is that you don't grow by being told how to grow. You just grow. You couldn't keep from growing if you tried. It's just something you do. It's not something you have to sit there and constantly think about and keep track of. I mean, you know how to walk, and it's like you don't have to. I mean, after a point, you don't have to sit there thinking, okay, I gotta place my right foot in front of my left, then my left foot in front of my right. You don't go through life thinking that. I mean, after you learn how to do it, you just do it. Uh, but you can control the speed and the growth of your learning, and generally, it usually means stop inhibiting yourself, stop limiting yourself, because it will happen if you just let it happen. Okay, well, actually, the interesting thing is I actually set up here to do one blog with a bunch of frequently asked questions, but I actually ended up with a whole ton. Some of these topics, I just ended up with a whole ton of info, and I've got to do separate blogs on them because there's just so much info in them. So I'm going to stick with a couple of the ones here that were kind of short, and then we'll just make separate ones for the other ones. Let's see here. I got like notes here. Okay, here's a common question that I often get. Why does it seem like I'm standing still when everyone else is moving past me? This seems like more of an issue of perspective. Everyone develops at their own pace. Some may move slower than others. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything except you've decided at some point you'd like to explore the experience more thoroughly for whatever reason. Maybe you just want to understand the experience more completely. I mean, another thing to consider is the analogy of the moving car. When you're in the car, you're looking at the dashboard. It seems like you're moving still. You're not going anywhere. But then when you look out the window, it still seems like you're standing still, but everything around you is moving, going crazy. But the thing is, the truth of the matter is, if you had some way to get your eyes outside of the car, you would understand that the environment wasn't moving; it was you that was moving, and everything else was standing still. So, just consider perspective. Let me see here. There's another question I want to cover. I think. Well, I guess that was it. I mean, I thought there was going to be more to it. Well, I mean, for the short ones anyway. Besides, I'm kind of running kind of out of time here. I know there's a 15-minute limit on these videos. So I think there's about 3 other ones that I need to cover. So I will start getting on recording those. Brightest blessings to y'all. I'll see you later.